Hello and Merry Christmas. This is your host, Adam Graham. Today's compilation features our Christmas specials from 2009 and 2010, featuring Sherlock Holmes, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, Nero, Wolfe, and Let George Do It. I did actually do the same episode of Let George Do It in both 2009 and 2010, but I decided to play the 2010 version just so you have the benefit of me being a year more experienced. Now, as usual, any offers or promotions mentioned in the episode are not currently valid unless they are on our Great Detectives website at greatdetectives.net. But with that said, please enjoy these Christmas old-time radio detective programs. Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio, and I hope you're having a Merry Christmas as you get ready to celebrate if you're listening to this around Christmas time when this is released. As we get started with today's episode, I wanted to follow up a little bit on what I was saying from last week. There's actually been a book written about the role of the Rathbone Bruce films in World War II. It's called England's Secret Weapon by Amanda J. Field. And this is just from the Amazon copy. They wrote that about he came to represent the acceptable face of England for the Americans, the one man who could be relied upon to ensure an Allied victory. And indeed, he fought the Nazis, most notably in The Secret Weapon. The final exchange, actually, of The Secret Weapon, Sherlock Holmes and The Secret Weapon, Watson says to Holmes, "Things are looking up, Holmes. This little island is still on the map." And Holmes replies, "Yes, this fortress, built by nature for herself, this blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England." And based on some of what we talked about, Rathbone's real-life experience, that there was some feeling behind that. Well, it's Christmas Eve, and it's also Christmas Eve in this episode, December 24th, 1945. The war is, for the most part, past. And this episode is part of the big bulk of Holmes episodes we have from the 45-46 season. There was no need to take the transcriptions, melt them down for aluminum, which was unfortunately what happened to their performance of the Blue Carbuncle. So, we're going to get into today's episode, The Night Before Christmas, from December 24th, 1945, 64 years ago today. And this one is not based on an actual Doyle story. And I'm comfortable in saying that, though they drew some inspiration from an incident in the Blue Carbuncle. So let's go ahead and we will listen, and we'll come back in just a moment. But before we do, I want to encourage you to check out Netflix. Sometimes when you turn on the TV, you get subjected to a lot of things that you don't like, and you're at the mercy of television programmers. What's great about Netflix is it puts you in control of your entertainment choices. You're not limited to what the video store has or what's in the little box. Rather, you have got to pick from 90,000 titles, and you'll always find something that you like. Plus, you let Netflix know what you like, what you don't like, and it becomes the world's smartest video store clerk, coming up with recommendations that really are helpful and represent your best choices. So try out Netflix. You can try it out for 2 weeks for free, a risk-free trial. Go to netflix.greatdetectives.net. And if you decide to continue, you can get unlimited DVDs for as little as $8.99 a month. It is a great deal in the midst of this economy, and more Americans every day are signing up for Netflix. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and we will get into today's episode, The Night Before Christmas.
This episode from the life of Sherlock Holmes will be transmitted to our men and women overseas by shortwave and through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Petri Wine brings you Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce in the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Petri family, the family that took time to bring you good wine, invite you to listen to Dr. Watson tell us another exciting adventure he shared with his old friend, that master detective, Sherlock Holmes. Well, right about now, you're probably taking a little breather in your last-minute rush to get everything ready for the big day tomorrow. Children have to be put to bed to wait for Santa Claus, and there's the tree waiting to be decorated, and, a million and one things which must be done before morning. I sure hope you got all your Christmas shopping done. Pretty hectic rushing off at the last minute to take care of Uncle Charlie or Aunt Bertha or Cousin Sam. But if you must get something, just remember that you can always dash over to your wine merchant and get a bottle or two of Petri wine. Or better yet, a whole case of Petri wine. Petri wine's a swell gift, and I just thought a little last-minute suggestion might be of some help. And now I'm sure our good friend Dr. Watson's waiting for us, so let's go in and join him.
Come in. Ah, there you are, Mr. Bartell.
Oh, say, Doctor, I can see you're going to have yourself quite a Christmas. Big tree in the corner with colored lights on it. Where'd you get those? Table covered with presents? You must be mighty popular.
Oh, they aren't all for me, my boy. You see, I'm having a Christmas party tomorrow for my housekeeper's little nieces.
Oh.
I'm going to dress up as Santa Claus for them.
Well, I'm sure you look very convincing in the part. Oh, by the way, Doctor, I brought you a little present.
Ooh,
Here it is. I hope you'll like it.
No, Mr. Bartell, I got one for you, too, here, Summer. Oh, you mustn't open it until tomorrow. Here you are, my boy.
Thanks a lot, Doctor. And now, how's about tonight's story? Last week you told us you'd chosen an adventure with a lot of Christmassy atmosphere.
Yes, Mr. Bartell. My story begins on another Christmas Eve many years ago. To be exact, in 1886. The time the adventure occurred, I must confess I didn't quite understand what was going on myself. In fact, I never did quite make head or tails of it until Holmes took pity on me later and explained the whole thing. But I shan't try to confuse you, Mr. Bartell. I'll tell you the story exactly as it happened.
Right you are, Doctor. Let's go.
Very well. On that Christmas Eve in 86, I was standing in our Baker Street rooms, dressed in the costume of Santa Claus. Holmes, his long, thin fingers pressed together, lay back in an armchair and gazed at me quizzically, while our housekeeper, Mrs. Hudson, stood by the door and...
Dr. Watson, you make a grand Santa Claus.
Doesn't he, Mrs. Hudson? Try the beard on, Watson, old chap.
I'm afraid this is going to be a little uncomfortable. How does it look?
Oh, you look just like the old man on the Christmas cards, Doctor.
Yes, Watson. It really becomes you. The cheery twinkle of the eyes, the ruddy complexion, and the appropriate girth. What a shame we can't obtain some snow on a sleigh and reindeer for you. However, I'm sure Mrs. Hudson's nieces will be very much impressed.
Oh, they will that, sir. And it's very kind of you, Doctor, to offer to come over to their house with me. With her father in the hospital and my sister at his bedside, it would have been a very miserable Christmas without me.
Oh, I shall enjoy myself, but I think I'll take this beard off before we get there. That's it. Are you ready to leave, Mrs. Hudson?
I am, sir. Will I get a cab?
How far do we have to go?
Oh, Lexington Gardens, number 28. It's just off the Edgware Road, Doctor.
It's not far, but bearing in mind my costume, I suppose we'd better take a cab.
Aye, sir. I'll get one.
Holmes, what are you going to do with yourself? I hate leaving you alone on Christmas Eve.
Oh, don't worry, old chap. I shall spend a profitable evening writing on my new monograph.
Oh, what's this one about?
An analysis of teeth marks on pipe stems, with particular regard to indicated character.
Oh, gracious me, how exciting. Well, I must be going.
Don't forget your sack of presents, old fellow.
Great Scott, no.
When you come to distribute them, you'll find that I took the liberty of adding a few trinkets on my own behalf.
Oh, that's very thoughtful of you, Holmes.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Holmes, but there's a gentleman to see you. Says he's an old friend of yours. Here's his card, sir.
Oh, thank you. Oh, it's Lord Whitcomb. Splendid. Ask him to come up, please, Mrs. Hudson.
All right, sir.
And I hope your party is a great success, Mrs. Hudson.
Thank you, sir. Are you sure you don't want me to stay? Now that you have a visitor.
Oh, no. Indeed, no, Mrs. Hudson. I can show the gentleman out myself. You go off and have a good time.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I wonder what Lord William wants. Perhaps I should stay
No,
and give you...
please, my dear fellow. Certainly not.
What?
You've far more important work to do. Whitcomb probably wants his revenge at chess. Or something equally innocuous. Off with you, my dear fellow, and enjoy yourself.
Oh, I suppose I better go. Just the same, I wish you were coming with me. I'll see you later.
I shall be there. Come on up, Whitcomb.
Hello, Holmes. Evening, Watson. You make a very convincing Santa Claus. Are you leaving?
I'm afraid so, Lord Whitcomb.
Well, good night, then.
Good night, sir.
How are you, Holmes? All alone on Christmas Eve, eh?
Yes, Whitcomb, I'm glad you came over to see me.
Mm-hmm.
What's it to be, an evening of chess, or have you unearthed some recent treasure of medieval pottery that we can discuss?
Neither, Holmes. I've come to you in your professional capacity. I need help.
Oh, come now, Whitcomb. Don't tell me that after all these years of quiet friendship, you're going to become a client.
I'm afraid so, Holmes. Though I doubt if my problem will interest you very much. It's hardly up to your rather colourful standards. Care for a cigar?
Oh, thanks. Well, now, my dear Whitcomb, what's your trouble?
Well, I decided this year to have a little Christmas party at my townhouse. I'm quite comfortably off, as you know, and it occurred to me that I have several relatives and friends who are not as well off. I'm having a party for them tonight, Holmes, and I hope you'd attend it, disguised as Santa Claus.
Oh, my dear fellow, I've adopted many disguises in my time, but Father Christmas has never been one of them. Why do you want me to attend your party in disguise in any case? You ashamed of your friendship with a private detective, or do you consider my features more acceptable when buried beneath the depths of a snowy beard?
Oh, my dear Holmes, do take me seriously. I'm not joking, I assure you.
Of course you're not, You want me to attend your party in disguise. Why?
I'm giving some very valuable presents, diamond and onyx cufflinks, platinum and ruby earrings, and such like. And I've wrapped each of the presents in banknotes.
Oh, dear me. Where are these presents now?
In a sack, in charge of my butler. I was going to dress up as Santa Claus and give them out myself, until I got the warning letter. That's why I've come to you.
Warning letter, eh?
Yes, I received it by this evening's post. Listen to this. My dear Lord Whitcomb, your generosity with Christmas presents borders on ostentation. We do not approve. Either we receive £5,000 in sovereigns at Post Restaurant, Box 379 by 6 o'clock on Christmas Eve, or I'm afraid your Christmas party will be conspicuous by its absence of presents.
Let me see that note, Whitcomb, will you?
Yes, here you are.
Thanks. Plain paper, torn from a penny notebook. The writing is obviously disguised. By George, yes. Whitcomb, I accept the case. I'll come with you to your party at once, and furthermore, I shall follow your suggestion regarding a disguise. Dressed as Santa Claus, I shall be less likely to attract suspicion.
I'm delighted, Holmes. But what made you decide so suddenly?
This writing, my dear fellow, this writing. Oh, it's in a false hand. I'd know that characteristic M in my dear Whitcomb. I've seen it too often at the beginning of a signature. Moriarity.
Moriarty? Who's he?
Oh, one of the cleverest and most unscrupulous criminals in England. Whitcomb, there's no time to be lost. Let me see now. 6:30. Half an hour beyond the deadline given you in this letter. We must go to your house at once.
this is as far as the cab can take us, Doctor.
Oh, here you are, cabby. Here's 5 shillings for you and a Merry Christmas.
Oh, bless you, Jim, and a Merry Christmas to you, too.
You said you wanted to get into the house through the back way so that you could surprise the children.
Yes, I thought I'd send to come down the kitchen chimney.
Oh, you can get to the back of the house by going up the alley here. I'll go in the front door.
Splendid, Mrs. Hudson. Which is the house?
Number 28. It's the third one down the alley, Doctor. I'll have the back window open in no time, and you can slip in without any of the bairns seeing.
Very well. Gloomy little street, I must say. Hello, well, where's the music coming from?
Oh, it's from that temple across the street, Doctor. The disciples of the octagonal square, they call themselves.
What on earth do you suppose that means?
Oh, some newfangled cult. Heathens, most likely.
Hello. I'm not the only Santa Claus abroad tonight. Look at that fellow across the street over there.
Oh, dressed just like yourself, Doctor, and carrying a sack, too. Oh, he's running up the steps to the temple.
Great Scott, he slipped on the ice. Oh, I wonder what his hurry was. Here, my man.
Be careful now, Doctor. Do not trip yourself.
Here you are, sir. Now, give me a hand.
Thank you, sir. Silly of me, what's in it?
Oh, we Santa Clauses have to help each other, you know. Up you come. That's it. Whoop. Gracious me.
Doctor, I told you to be careful. Now you've fallen, too.
Oh, it's this confounded red coat of mine. It tripped me up.
Did you hurt yourself, sir?
No. I'm all right, I think. How about you, sir?
Well, I'm all right, thanks. Silly of me to run, wasn't it?
Here's your sack, sir.
Well, thank you. Good night, and Merry Christmas.
Good night. Same to you. Same to you. Oh, he went into the temple. Must be a disciple of the octagonal square.
You're sure you're no hurt, Doctor?
No, of course not, Mrs. Hudson. Give me my sack, please. Thank you. Your sister's house is the third one down this alleyway, you say?
I'll hurry and open the back window.
Yes, I'll be waiting for you, Mrs. Hudson. This is rather fun. What a shame Holmes isn't with us. Oh, well, he's probably happier having a good game of chess with Lord Whitcomb.
This is my house, Holmes. Number 39.
39 Branston Square, eh? And dear old Watson is just around the corner in Lexington Gardens and hasn't any idea that I've left Baker Street.
Yes, here you are, Caddy.
Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas, sir.
Uh-huh. Listen to that. Carol singers.
Yes, we'll probably have our fill of them before this evening's over.
Good evening, my lord.
Have the guests arrived, Hargreave?
Most of them, sir. They're in the library. You brought another Santa Claus with you, I see, my lord.
Another Santa Claus? What do you mean?
The gentleman arrived 3/4 of an hour ago, sir, dressed as Santa Claus. I took him to your study, my lord, and showed him the sack of presents.
Confound it! He's got here before us. Where's this study?
This way.
I hope I didn't do wrong, my lord. You told me that a gentleman dressed as Santa Claus would be coming here. Dear me. The gentleman appears to have gone.
Yes, and the sack containing the presents with him.
But he can't have left the house, my lord. I've been watching the front door.
Yes, and while you were doing that, he slipped out through the window here. The catch is undone. Hargrave, describe this man.
I can't tell you much about his appearance, I'm afraid, sir. He was dressed as Santa Claus, just like yourself. But I did notice one thing about him, sir.
Oh? What was that?
He lisped, sir. It was quite pronounced.
Of course. Lou the Lisper.
Who on earth is Lou the Lisper?
One of Moriarty's most trusted accomplices. Fortunately, though, I've had news of him lately through my underworld grapevine.
You know where he lives?
He's reputed to have some connections with a new cult that calls themselves the Disciples of the Octagonal Square. Their headquarters are just around the corner from here.
Let's go there at once.
Of course, and Hargrave.
Yes, sir.
Get a message to Scotland Yard as fast as you can. Ask for Inspector Lestrade and tell him to join me at the Temple of the Octagonal Square in Lexington Gardens as soon as possible.
Oh, the children are awful excited, Doctor. I told them you just came down the chimney.
I'll strip the beard on and then I'll go into him. There we are.
Will I announce you, Doctor?
Yes, please, Mrs. Hudson.
All right, sir. Now, children, quiet. Santa Claus has come to see you, and he's brought you all presents.
Hello, children.
Hello, Santa Claus. My name's Elsie. Did you bring me a present?
Oh, I did, Elsie. I'll look in my sack in a minute. And what's your name, young man?
Herbert. They call me Bertie. Did you come down the chimney?
Yes, Bertie.
I bet you had a time doing it. You're so fat.
Oh, don't be rude, Bertie, or Santa Claus won't give you your present.
And what's your name, little man?
Maya, I've got a cold.
Yes, I see you have. Well, children, gather round me, and I'll see what present I got for you.
Let me see, Bertie.
The first present is for... Oh, this can't be right. It says for Her Grace, the Dowager Duchess of Bewley.
Oh, do you suppose Mr. Holmes has been playing a practical joke on you, Doctor?
I suppose so. Well, I can't see the point myself. But he did say that he'd added a few trinkets of his own.
I want my present.
Then supposing you take this, Elsa.
Ooh, thank you.
And this one is marked for the Reverend Arthur Carter. I tell you what Holmes is up to. Here you are, Bertie.
Cool, thanks.
And this is for you, Lionel, because you've been a good little boy.
This isn't very big, is it? I wanted the dog.
Oh, wanted a dog for Christmas. Well, I'll bring you a dog next year, Lionel.
Oh,
Dr. Watson.
Yes?
Oh, look at the wrapping on these presents, Doctor. They're £20 notes.
It's cut.
Oh, cool. Look what I
Now,
got.
let me see. Why, cufflinks and diamond and onyx ones, unless I'm very much mistaken.
I got the pretty earrings. Look how they sparkle.
Let me see, Elsie. Good gracious, I swear that these are platinum and rubies. What in thunder's going on?
I want my earrings back. Give me back mine, too.
Well, here you are, here you are.
Dr. Watson, what do you suppose has happened?
I don't know, Mrs. Hudson. Perhaps my toys are still at the bottom of the sack. I can't understand it. I wish Holmes were here instead of dozing in front of our fire in Baker Street.
Where are you, Holmes?
Here by the bed. This is the only room in the temple that gives any signs of having been lived in. I think our bird has been here, but I'm afraid he's flown. If Inspector Lestrade will get here, strike a match, will you, Whitcomb?
Right. Here's a candle on the table.
Oh, just as I feared. Look on the bed.
A red coat and a beard.
Yes, Lou the Lisper has discarded his disguise and gone, and with him, I'm afraid, your valuable presents.
Oh, wait a minute. Here's a sack lying on the floor. Oh, no, this isn't mine. Look what's in it. A toy dog, large box of chocolates, little girl's doll.
What in thunder? Well, this is Watson's sack.
But how on earth could Lou the Lisper have got hold of it?
Somewhere, somehow, he and Watson must have made an accidental change, and Lou the Lisper is no doubt trying to track Watson down at this very moment. He must work fast, Whitcomb, or my friend's life and those of Mrs. Hudson and her relatives won't be worth a tinker's dam.
Oh, now, Doctor, you can't break off your story there.
Oh, yes, I can, my boy. Before I go on, I thought we'd have a glass of port just to freshen us up.
Oh, well, that's something different. Of course. Instead of talking about port, as I sometimes do, it'll be nice to drink some for a change.
There you are, my boy, and a Merry Christmas to you.
The same to you. And now, what happened next, Doctor? We left you at the children's Christmas party, and Sherlock Holmes and Lord Whitcomb around the corner at the Temple of the Octagonal Square.
Yes, Mr. Bartell, although at the time, of course, I had no idea what was going on. There I was, cheerfully handing out gifts worth, well, if not a king's, at least a baronet's ransom. While outside the Temple of the Octagonal Square, Holmes and Lord Whitcomb were talking to Inspector Lestrade at Scotland Yard.
That's the case in a nutshell, Lestrade.
Yeah, it seems to me, Lord Whitcomb, you'd have been wiser to get in touch with Scotland Yard when you first got the warning note. We could have nabbed him when he came to your house and pinched the sack of presents.
Lestrade, this is no time for post-mortems. We've got to reach Lou the Lisper before he finds Dr. Watson.
Do you suppose he can do that, Holmes?
It wouldn't be difficult. Lou the Lisper is nearly as clever as his master, Professor Moriarity. The chances are that you were followed when you came to Baker Street tonight, Whitcomb, and it's equally likely that Watson and Mrs. Hudson were followed as they left it. Moriarty seldom leaves anything to chance.
Well, where did Dr. Watson go tonight?
28 Lexington Gardens. It's just around the corner from here.
Well, then let's go there at once.
Frighten our quarry away? No, Lestrade. We must use a little subtlety. Now, Lou the Lisper wishes to recover that sack of presents from Watson. How would he invade the party with the least possible trouble?
By By dressing up as Santa Claus again?
No, I think he's overplayed that role for one evening.
Well, then how would he try to get in, Mr. Holmes?
Oh, come now, Lestrade. What group of people can enter any house on Christmas Eve without invitation and without creating suspicion?
The carols.
Exactly, my dear fellow. I shouldn't be at all surprised if at this very moment Lou the Lisper and some of his gang are singing carols outside 28 Lexington Gardens.
Well, then what are we going to do?
Form a rival choral society. How many of your men did you bring with you?
3. The sergeant and 2 constables.
Wearing greatcoats?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. But why?
Good. They can hide their helmets and pretend to be singers. Come on. Let's go over there, and while we're walking, we'll rehearse our carols. We must appear reasonably convincing. Sound your A, Lestrade. Sound your
Thank you for a ride on your back, Santa Claus.
No, you mustn't make Santa Claus too tired, lad.
Oh, that's all right, Mrs. Hudson. Hop on, Lal, hop on.
Ooh, they sing carols outside
Oh,
the
isn't
door.
that
Can't
nice?
they come inside and sing for us, Santa
Yes, of
Claus?
course they can. Ask them to come in, Mrs. Hudson, will you?
All right, sir.
Oh, come on, let me get on your back, too.
Oh, now, take it easy. Ooh, there we go.
I want to see your reindeer, Santa.
See my reindeer. Oh, bother. Tap on the roof.
I'll climb up and see him.
No, you mustn't do that. They're asleep. Oh, here are the carol singers. Off you get, children. There we go. That's it. Now, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, and Merry Christmas.
Would you like to sing some carols for the children? After that, I'm sure you'd like a drop of something to warm you up.
Well, thank you, sir. We should like that.
Haven't I met you before somewhere, my man?
No, sir, I'm sure you haven't. Come on, men, let's sing Good King Wenceslas.
Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen.
Well, here we are outside the house, Mr. Holmes. Now what?
Listen. Lou the Lisper and his men are already there.
Are we going in now?
In a moment. Now, men, you will have your truncheons handy?
Yes, Mr. Holmes, we're ready.
Splendid. Now, remember, when we're inside and I yell Merry Christmas at the top of my voice, you bring out your truncheons and get Lou the Lisper and his gang out of there as quickly as possible. Don't arrest them until you get them outside again, Lestrade. I don't want to frighten the children.
Right you are, Mr. Holmes. We're ready. Just give us the word and we'll go in and get them.
That was very nice singing. And now, how about something to warm you all up?
That won't be necessary, Dr. Watson. See to the door, Sammy. Now, all of you, stay right where you are.
Who are you? What do you think you're up to?
Please don't be difficult, Doctor. All I want is the jewels out of my sack that you stole from me tonight. If you try and stop me, I shall have to hurt you.
Why do you talk so funny? You got a cold like me?
Shut up. Now, Doctor, where are the jewels? Oh, curse it. There are some more carol singers outside.
Let them go away, Lou.
No, better let them come in. If we don't, they might get suspicious.
All right, Lou. I should know what you're up to.
Now, no tricks, Doctor. If you try and give an alarm, I shall have to get rough with you.
I don't mind about that, but just remember that there are children present.
Oh, yeah, Manny. Hello here before you, eh? What you say, we all join a little carol for the nippers, eh?
All right. What do you want to sing?
Off the old angels sing, eh?
All right. Come on, men. Let's sing.
Off the angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
Merry Christmas!
Dr. Watson, what's happening? They're all hitting each other with truncheons.
Here, you can't do that. They're all going away. They're dragging each other out. Hey, come back here.
Oh, terrible.
Holmes, what in thunder's going on?
I'll explain it to you later, old chap. Lestrade!
Yes, Mr. Holmes.
Take them to Scotland Yard and prefer charges. I'll be over in a little while and give evidence.
Right you are, sir. Too bad we didn't catch Professor Moriarity, too.
Well, at least we have some of his cohorts. I'll see you later,
I
Lestrade.
wish I knew what was going on here. Is Moriarty mixed up in this business?
Yes, Watson. I'll tell you all about it as soon as I've straightened this thing out. Now, Whitcomb.
Yes, Holmes.
The 20-pound notes that you used as wrapping for your gifts seem to have been scattered all over the house. Do you want me to recover them, too?
No. From what you've told me of the children, I think their parents could use the money much more profitably than my relatives. In any case, I can replace it.
A very generous Christmas gift. Well, children, did you enjoy the little game we staged for you?
It was enough fun.
Yes. I nearly died laughing when they started hitting each other.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, children. And now I want you to show me the presents you received.
I got these pretty earrings.
Oh, they were a part of the game, too. A nice little girl like you doesn't want silly earrings, Elsie. Here's a beautiful doll for you.
Cool. Her eyes open and shut and everything.
And what did you get, my little man?
These.
Oh, cufflinks. Good gracious, who wants cufflinks when he can have a clockwork train? You want to exchange?
Rain, Lord love a duck, yes.
I wanted the dog.
There's one for you, Lionel. A nice woolly dog.
Oh, good.
And here's a
Lovely.
Here you are, children. Here's a nice big box of chocolates, too. You can all share them.
Oh, Lummy, what a night. I ain't had as much fun since Granny got her finger stuck in a plug-o.
I still don't understand what's going on, Holmes, but I must say this has all the earmarks of being a happy Christmas.
Yes, oh. Mrs. Hudson.
Hi, Mr. Holmes.
How's the turkey coming along?
Oh, it'll be ready in a few minutes, Mr. Holmes.
Splendid. And while we're waiting, perhaps the children will oblige with something we haven't heard so far.
Yes, I know what you mean. A Christmas carol that really sounds convincing. How about it, children?
All right, sir. Come on, Elsie. Come on, Lionel.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant of tender and mild, sleep in heavenly sleep in
Well, Doctor, that was really a swell story. On a Christmas Eve like this, do you ever wish you were back in Baker Street celebrating Christmas there?
At times, yes, but actually, Mr. Bartell, I'm very happy right here in my little home. There on the table is a beautiful little Christmas tree. There's a fine fire in my fireplace. My two dogs, Monty and Willie, are sleeping peacefully at my feet. And best of it all, I've got the love of every child in the neighborhood. Yes, I got a great deal this Christmas Eve. Lots to be thankful for. And what with the troubles of the world on their way to being settled, it looks as if this is the brightest Christmas that I've ever had.
Well, that's how I feel about it, too, Doctor.
I hope that all our friends listening in are just as happy this Christmas Eve as we are. And speaking not only for myself, but I know for all of us and for the Petrie family, too, we wish every one of you a happy Christmas from the bottom of our hearts. God rest ye merry, gentlemen.
Well, Dr. Watson, next Monday is New Year's Eve. What story do you plan to tell us?
One that I think you will find extremely appropriate, Mr. Bartell. It takes place in a Scottish castle near Edinburgh on a New Year's Eve in 1900 and concerns a pair of lovers, an elderly baronet, and a strange iron box that proved to be more than worth its weight in gold.
Tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure was written by Dennis Green and Anthony Boucher and was suggested by an incident in the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle story, The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle. Music is by Dean Fossler. Mr. Rathbone appears through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer and Mr. Bruce through the courtesy of Universal Pictures, where they are now starring in the Sherlock Holmes series. The Petrie Wine Company of San Francisco, California, invites you to tune in again next week, same time, same station. Sherlock Holmes comes to you from our Hollywood studios. This is Harry Bartell saying good night for the Petrie family. For a solid hour of exciting mystery dramas, listen every Monday on most of these same stations at 8 o'clock to Michael Shayne, followed immediately by Sherlock Holmes. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Oh, welcome back. Now you see what happens when they run out of actual Doyle stories. This story was just an absolute Absolute hoot. I was, actually just after my exercise, listening to Holmes lay out his plan to get the policemen together as carolers, and you got this ultimate sense. This was just. This was just totally outside what you expect to find, but I thought in a good way, a very kind of light and merry story for Christmas. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas as well. We'll join Dr. Watson and all the rest in wishing you a Merry Christmas. We'll be back next week with another Sherlock Holmes. We're heading to 1940, so you won't want to miss it. Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio, and Merry Christmas. Usually, I do the Yours Truly Johnny Dollar episodes the same week. I decided to just go ahead and record a normal intro like I would for other shows, because I figure it's Christmas and people listening would probably most like to get right into the show. Well, before we do, I want to let you know, as always, feel free to email me, box13@greatdetectives.net. Also, please cast your vote for the show and Podcast Alley at podcastalley.greatdetectives.net. And please take our listener survey at survey.greatdetectives.net. This week's episode of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, we skip ahead to December 24th of 1949. And this episode of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar is actually the last one we have in existence of Charles Russell performing the role. He did do 3 more shows, and then the show went off the air for a few weeks and came back with Edmund O'Brien. But this episode is also the first Christmas episode of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, and as far as we can tell, it was the only episode till Bob Bailey took over the show. There was a Christmas serial during the serial run in '55, and then there were Christmas episodes, I think, every season other than 1958 under Bailey. And then he did 2 Christmas episodes one year. So this will be our first, and it'll be a few years until we have another Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar Christmas to share with you. So we'll probably just be continuing straight through the series. But we'll go ahead and listen to today's episode in just a moment. But before we do, as you make plans in the new year, we all would like to travel in the same sort of style that Johnny Dollar enjoys. Well, to do that, you want to always be sure to book your flights and make your travel plans through Johnny Dollar Air. Go to johnnydollar.greatdetectives.net, and we'll be taken to Priceline, where you can name your price on hotels, airlines, rental cars, and even more. Plus, if you're not quite into the name your own price thing, you can also get great deals on listed specials. But without any further ado, let's get into today's episode, How I Played Santa Claus and Almost Ended Up Left Holding the Bag.
It was the week before Christmas, and all through the house, a creature was stirring. And boy, what a rat.
This is another in the adventures of America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator, Johnny Dollar, starring Charles Russell. At insurance investigation, Johnny Dollar is only an expert. At making out his expense account, he's an absolute genius.
Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Home Office, Industrial Insurers Incorporated, Hartford, Connecticut. Attention, Mr. Eben Stevens, General Manager. The following is an accounting of my expenditures during investigation of small-time swindles of big-time department stores.
Or how I played Santa Claus and almost got left holding the sack. Or going for a sleigh ride without benefit of snow can be tough sledding. Expense account, item 1. $1. Tip to messenger who delivered this assignment in writing by hand to my apartment.
Thanks, Mr. Dollar.
You have never been known as a fast man with a buck, Mr. Stevens, and I must say your note to me also marked you in my mind as an economist with words.
Dear Dollar, our client, the Association of Department Stores of Greater Manhattan, has requested help on the following problem. A young man has been making the rounds of New York department stores during the current Christmas rush. Using his equipment and official-looking sales book, he goes to a business department, makes a quick sale on some large item, writes it up in his furious sales book, takes the customer's cash, and disappears. Enclosed find varying descriptions as furnished by victims to date, and check for your usual retainer fee. Please put a stop to this nefarious practice at once. Signed, Eben Stevens, General Manager.
Expense account, item 2. $6.21. Train fare, Hartford to New York. Next morning at 7:03 on the Banker's Special. A train very cleverly named that because 75% of its load is made up of bankers. I sat among them in a parlor car, watching them limbering up for the day's chores, slowly shaking their heads from side to side and softly whispering, "No." We arrived at Grand Central at 9:20. The bankers got off and headed for their granite vaults. I got off and headed to face my stone wall. Expense account, item 3. 4 bits, cab fare to offices of the Association of Department Stores of Greater Manhattan. There, things got brighter right away. Her name was Judy Whitehall. Boy, how she'd been missed by the scouts for the Copacabana, I'll never know.
I have been assigned to help you all I can, Mr. Dollar. What would you like to know first?
Your home phone number. Oh, well, maybe we better wait until later for that. How many stores are there in your association, Miss Whitehall?
We have 120 member stores, Mr. Dollar.
Great. You know, in one department store, I'm the kind of a guy that can't find a glove department. And now I've got 120 stores in which to find someone I don't even know.
Well, we do have the man's description.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we have a lot of descriptions, all slightly different.
And the regular store detectives are all on the lookout.
It's like looking for a noodle in a spaghetti stack.
And all the sales personnel have been warned.
It's beautiful.
What's beautiful?
Your face.
Well, really, Mr. Dollar. After all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, I know. Business. Well, before I start, maybe you'd better give me a letter of identification. If I spend all day moseying around department stores without buying anything, I can stand a good chance of getting picked up as a shoplifter.
Right away. Follow me.
All right.
Oh, just a minute. Hello, this is Miss Whitehall. Oh, yes, Mr. Sandler. Oh, my, that's terrible. My goodness, that's awful. Good gracious, that's worse. Well, the insurance investigator is here right now, Mr. Sanders. We'll be right over.
What's so terrible?
Well, that man, the one we're looking for, he was in the Miller's store making a phony sale in the camera department.
Oh, you also said it was awful.
It was. A little girl picked up a camera and snapped his picture, and the man tried to take it away from her, and the girl yelled, and then her mother screamed.
And what made it worse?
Well, a store detective came running, and the man shot him. Then he grabbed the little girl, camera and all, and ran off. They called the police.
Really? I can't imagine why. The mob scene in the Miller store would have made the Notre Dame backfield holler uncle. Christmas neckties were selling like hotcakes. Only compared to most of the ties, a hotcake would look better on you. The camera department was on the mezzanine, and the store manager, Mr. Santa, was on a rampage.
Why doesn't somebody do something? Why can't they find him? I've got men posted on every door. He's in this store somewhere, and... Oh, Miss Whitehall, it's about time. Who's this?
Oh, this is Mr. Dollar, Mr. Sandler, from the insurance company.
Well, I know what you can do, Dollar. I've already got 20 policemen running all over the store. It's absolutely ridiculous, preposterous, and fantastic. That's what it is.
Also amazing. Now, tell me, Mr. Sandler, about that little girl who picked up the camera and snapped the culprit's picture. Did they find her yet?
They certainly did, in the rug department. She'd been shoved in the middle of a pile of 9x12 Orientals on sale at $123.50. She was scared, but not hurt.
Now, the girl was found without the camera, I suppose.
Oh, naturally, but the camera wouldn't do us any good. After all, I'm sure the camera didn't have any film in it. They never do when they're on display.
Well, how about the store detective, the one who got shot?
In the hospital, Miss Hall. They'll call me here as soon as they find out how badly he's been hurt.
Well, look, getting back to that kid. Was she able to give you a good description of the guy who grabbed her?
She hasn't stopped crying long enough.
Well, how about her mother?
Neither is she.
Well, where are they now?
They're in my office. That's why I'm staying right here.
Where is your office?
On the 8th floor, right next to the credit office.
Well, this may be the first time I ever got past the credit office. Come on, Judy.
Oh, Bobby, come on. Blow your nose. There. Now, be a brave little girl.
I don't want it. He hit me. He tried to kill me.
Oh.
He took away my camera.
Let me have another try, Mrs. Jenkins.
All right, Mr. Dollar, if you think it'll do any good.
All right. Oh, come on now, Bobby. All you have to do is tell us what that bad man looked like. We'll get him, and then we'll fix him. Come on now, huh?
I don't want to. He'll kill me.
I'm beginning to think he's got a point. Okay, Bobby. Okay. Just a minute now. Oh, Judy. Here.
Yes, Johnny?
Looks like it's a child psychologist. I'm nothing. At this point, I feel like telling little Bobby to go out and play with some old razor blades. Got any suggestions?
Well, it is almost Christmas.
Yeah.
And one thing little girls don't want to do at Christmas is get in wrong with Santa Claus.
Ah, gotcha. Good gal. Where do we find Santa Claus?
In the toy department on the 5th floor.
Well, give me about 5 minutes to explain things to Santa, and then bring Bobby down.
All right.
Oh, Bobby.
What?
Do you know what happens to little girls who make Santa Claus mad at them?
Yes.
What happens?
They don't get to look at television before they go to bed.
I mean, at Christmas, what happens?
They don't get any toys. All they get is old sweaters and underwear.
Well, listen, Bobby. This guy Santa happens to be a good friend of mine. What do you think of that?
Tell him I want an air rifle.
You would. Okay. I'll even fix it so you can tell him yourself. How's that?
Just fine.
Ah, good girl. Hey, where'd you get that blood on your coat? You got a cut?
No, sir. That's from that bad man. I bit him on the head.
Okay, Judy. Here I go. Oh, and on the way down, maybe you better stop by the dog supply department and buy little Bobby a muzzle. If the kid doesn't like his looks, old St. Nick may get nicked. Department stores should have some kind of a congressional medal for salespeople who work in the toy department just before Christmas. I took the elevator down to 5, and when that door slid open...
Let him out, please.
It was like stepping into Dante's Inferno, junior grade. First, I got on the house phone and called Santa, who was still in the camera department. He had word from the hospital. The store detective had died without regaining consciousness. I was no longer trying to catch a cheap swindler. I was now out to swap blood with a dirty murderer. A line of fidgety kids led me to Santa Claus, sitting benignly on his throne. I had a short talk with him, and a short wait for Judy and little Bobby. Okay, Santa. Now we've got to make her talk. That is, you've got to.
All right, Dollar. All right now, kiddies. You'll have to wait for a moment. We have a special little visitor coming to see me.
Hello, Johnny. All set?
Yeah, all set. Okay, Bobby, my girl. Now just let me give you a hoist up into Santa's lap. He wants to ask you a few questions.
I want an air rifle.
Now, you be a good little girl and answer all Santa's nice questions, and you'll get it. But not where I'd like to give it to you. Up you go.
Yes. Well, there we are, honey. Now, tell me, what do you want for Christmas?
I want an air rifle.
Well, we'll see what we can do about that. Tell me, have you been a good little girl?
Yes, sir.
Well, first we'll just have to look up your name in my little black book and make sure. Pretty good. All but one little thing.
What'd I do? I didn't do nothing.
Well, that's just it. You see, Bobby, I have a note here that today some people asked you what a certain man looked like, and you wouldn't tell them. Is that right?
I'm afraid. I don't want to tell. They can't make me.
Mm-hmm. Well, Bobby, maybe you and I had better talk this over. If you won't do something for us now, how do you expect to...
Little Bobby's description of the murderer wasn't the greatest by any means, but it was better than none at all, with which we had been furnished by the personnel in the camera department and the kid's mother. We took the girl to the advertising department, where an artist made a sketch. Armed with a drawing, we made a tour of the store exits, showing it to the police posted on every door, giving them a rough idea what to look for. A medium-build, pudgy man with black hair. And when they came across such a character, he was to be issued an invitation to show his hands. If he was sporting Bobby's teeth marks, then they'd really know. Well, this chore out of the way, Miss Whitehall and I sank our teeth in a pair of sandwiches in the tea room. The Shopper's Delight sandwich, to be exact. Cream cheese, walnuts, watercress, and pineapple on whole wheat bread. Mmm. We found the store manager, Sandler, back in his office. He, too, was eating, but he was on a diet of straight fingernails.
Oh, terrible, terrible, terrible. That's what it is.
Now, don't worry, Mr. Sandler. He'll be caught. As a swindler, he might have gone on for years. But as a murderer, it won't be long, believe me.
Oh, what to do?
Well, I've got several ideas. And the first is to get out of your office and start at the top of the store and work my way down.
They're already doing that, and not a sign of him.
Well, I once found a mouse in a hayloft, so be not discouraged. And a pretty little mouse she was.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Oh, please, try to relax, Mr. Sandler. Everybody's doing their best.
Yes, I'm sure they are. It's just that Oh. Hello? Yes, it's Mr. Sandler. Oh, no. Where? How long has he been there? Hello? I'll be right down.
What's the matter now?
About an hour and a half ago, our store Santa Claus stepped out into the employee restroom for a smoke. He was slugged from behind. When he came to, he was all tied up in a broom closet, and somebody has stolen his Santa Claus suit. They just found him.
About an hour and a half ago. Judy, you know what that means?
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. 45 minutes ago, when little Bobby was giving Santa Claus the murderer's description, he was giving it to the murderer himself.
Oh, good gracious.
Instead of a kid's air rifle, it could have gotten us a revolver, size 38.
In just a moment, we will return to the second act of Johnny Dollar. But first, CBS is going to bring you one of the biggest presents you ever received from show business tomorrow afternoon, Christmas Day. For a full hour on the entire CBS network, you're going to get all the comedy, all the laughs, and one of the greatest Broadway and Hollywood hits of recent years, The Man Who Came to Dinner. And the man who came will be played by none other than Jack Benny, plus Charles Boyer, Gene Kelly, Dorothy McGuire, Gregory Peck, and Rosalind Russell, plus Henry Fonda and John Garfield as narrators. You'll hear them all on CBS's special holiday hour tomorrow afternoon. Jack Benny, playing the man who came to dinner and breaking a leg, had to stay on and on and on. Now with our star, Charles Russell, we return to the second act of yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
There's no place like a crowded department store for a fresh-made murderer to be on the loose, especially one that's playing Santa Claus for a lot of rosy-cheeked little nippers. I headed back to the toy department, but when I got there, the cupboard was bare. Our lethal St. Nick had decided to give up his red flannel and white whisker hiding place. We found the empty suit in a storeroom, tossed high on a stack of baby buggies.
Oh, Johnny, this is terrible. That man's a murderer. What are you going to do?
What am I going to do? Now, listen, Judy. By now, there must be 87 cops sifting through this store looking for that guy. They've got 2 cops on every door. Now, all I'm going to do is help them look. This is one of those everybody's problems.
You're right. I guess I'm just getting excited.
Well, that you have a right to do. Come on, let's get out of here. I've got an idea.
All right, Johnny.
Oh, Mr. Dollars, thank goodness I found you. Mr. Sandler wants you right away, down on 3. An old lady has just been shot in Junior Mrs. Lingerie.
Oh, serves her right for not acting her age. Let's go, Judy.
Right over here, Dollar.
All right.
Let him through, please. Let him... Lady, please stand back now. Well, Dollar, congratulations. Before, this store was only going to sue that company of yours for $1 million. Considering what this shooting will do to our reputation, I'm going to make that $5 million.
Mr. Sandler, keep your powder dry. First of all, it's not my company. And second, you can't sue them for something they didn't do. And third, you'd better get this poor old gal to a hospital. How badly is she hurt? And how did it happen?
The doctor's on his way, and we've sent for an ambulance. This woman was lost out on a big stairway looking for the ladies' room. That maniac saw her coming toward him and ran down the stairs, firing over his shoulder. The bullet just seemed to have grazed her left side.
Pretty lucky. Where are the police?
They're searching all over the store. Dollar, what are we going to do? This is terrible for business.
Well, I suspect that any minute now, the cops will be telling you to do something that's going to be even worse for business. Close the store.
Well, but close the store? Why, we're staying open late tonight. It's the last-minute rush.
I'm just telling you what I think. I think the cops will double the lookouts on all the doors and make you close the store. Then they can go to work.
We lose thousands of dollars. They can't make me close the store.
If you stay open, you might lose a few more customers. The hard way. Where's that doctor?
He'll be here any minute.
Oh, Mr. Sandler.
Well, yes, what is it?
Well, they called up from the sporting goods in the basement. That man has been down there and held them up. And he took 4 guns and 6 boxes of ammunition.
6 boxes of... Oh, my... Oh, what's this going to do to our store?
If you're not careful, it's going to turn your store into the world's largest shooting gallery with live targets. You know what I suggest, Mr. Sandler?
What? What? Tell me what?
Don't wait for the police to tell you. Close the store. Sandler didn't like it, and neither did the customers, as they filed out of the store past the scrutiny of the police officers, still clutching their unfinished Christmas shopping lists. The process was slow, and while the customers were leaving, the clerks finished up their business, put the white shrouds over their counters, and they too filed out into the early night. The boys in blue, watching the doors, came up with several men answering the general description of our friend with a loose trigger finger, but none of them had little Bobby's teeth marks on his hands. That made it a 50-50 chance that Mr. Killer was still in the building. There's nothing more eerie than a department store after closing. And its white sheets, the whole joint seemed to be playing ghost. I sent Judy over to a steakhouse, Pietre's, on 3rd Avenue. Told her to wait. Then I had Sandler get me a gun from the sporting goods department. For that lonely, scared feeling, there's no medicine that quite takes the place of a piece of cool steel in your little hot hand. The sergeant, in charge of the police detail, posted men outside all exits. The rest he took up to the roof with them. They were going to run the whole store through their burly blue sieve, floor by floor, counter by counter, inch by inch. Sandler stayed with me down the first floor. Just for fun, I thought I would start working my way up.
Dollar, don't you think we should get out of here and leave this to the police?
Well, I have several goosebumps that agree with you, Mr. Sandler, but I have a very dangerous habit of trying to earn my money.
Oh, this is terrible.
Well, look, every counter and post in this store is just the kind of hiding place a sniper would pray for. I get paid for this kind of work. You don't. Now, why don't you go out for a nice, safe walk?
It's my duty to stay here. I'm sticking with you.
Okay. But remember, 2 of us give him twice as much to shoot at.
No, you did.
I had to go and open my big mouth. Get down. Getting down on that floor could have been committing suicide in itself. The killer's bullet had crashed into a showcase. And a sea of broken glass is a risky place to practice diving. Having to swim out of it was twice as bad, but that's what I had to do.
Oh, Mr. Dollar.
Now, Sandler, keep your head down. Bury your face in that glass, but keep your head down.
Yes, Dollar. Tell me what to do, anything but get me out of here. I have a wife and 3 kids.
Well, if you'll do what I tell you to do, your wife will go on having a husband and your kids will still have a father.
Yes, just tell me.
I don't know exactly where that shot came from, but from the looks of this glass, it must have been from behind us. Now, I'm going to leave you and crawl over near those elevators. While I'm on my way, you rattle around in this glass. Let them hear where you are. Give me about 2 minutes, and then do something to draw his fire.
What'll I do?
Do anything but one thing. Don't stand up.
I'll think of something.
You'd better. But don't take any chances.
No. But what are you going to do?
Take some chances. Once I was on my way, Sandler went to work with a vengeance. I could hear him thrashing around in that glass like he was trying to corner the Band-Aid market. I made it over to the elevators, scooting flat along the floor till I hit a car with an open door and slithered inside. Behind the protection of the elevator's front wall, I stood up, peered over at the edge of the door, and waited for Santa to make the move that would draw the murderer's fire. I must say Santa was dead game, and the way he made it move, he also stood a good chance of becoming plain dead. First, he stopped wiggling around on his bed of glass, and then he just stood straight up. The shot missed, but my eyesight didn't. The killer was shooting from high up, behind a pole. He was standing up on a glass showcase, hoping for a better view. And it didn't take me long to decide to give him a better view of the inside of that glass showcase. I started deliberately shooting his foothold out from under him. He was bleeding beautifully when I started to run, straight for the back of the store, firing as he ran. As one last souvenir, he threw his empty gun over his shoulder at me. People who live in glass houses shouldn't throw guns. I decided to join the track team and went on the chase. Back out of the main floor, through the employees' entrance, out to the dimly lit shipping department, and its loading dock filled with packages ready for shipment. I could hear him moving around among them. Okay, get your hands up and come out. I'm giving you a chance, but it's not going to last long. Get moving.
I don't need your chance. I've got something better.
Okay, so you want to play. I think I'll give you a couple of Yuletide presents early, and I'm sure nobody will mind if I open your head before Christmas. My hot-headed friend was hiding behind a high pile of wooden boxes ready for shipping. I grabbed a heavy, empty dolly, gave it a flying start, and sent it crashing into the bottom box of the pile. It was beautiful. The biggest crash since 29. It was a tough fight, but, Mom, I don't think I won. At best, it was a draw. About the 15th time I belted him, he belted me right back. Then he got his hands on a hammer, laid it across the side of my head. I got the hammer, did the same for him, and made a hole in one. He fell squarely into a man-sized packing case lying at the foot of the packing bench. I was getting weak, dizzy. I had to hold him. One thing to do. Top a case lying right there. All ready. Nails part way in. Put it on right over him. Nail it on. Good, tight. Good, tight. Good, tight. Everything is going black. Then everything went white. Hey, corny as this may sound, where am I?
You're in the hospital, Johnny, darling.
Hmm?
But don't worry. It's only a slight concussion. They brought you here last night.
Oh, I suppose I have a hammer-shaped hole in my head.
No, darling. It hardly shows.
Oh. How could it with these bandages covering it up? Well, at least I got him.
Hmm? You what, dear?
I got him. The killer.
Oh, no, dear. You couldn't have. They're still looking for him.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. What time is it?
11 in the morning.
I gotta get out of here.
Why? Johnny, please. Sonny, you're not supposed to get out. Oh, nurse! Nurse!
If they let him get away after all my trouble, somebody was going to need a doctor. Judy and I hit the department store in 12 minutes flat. 1 minute later, I was in the shipping department talking to the head man.
Now, Mr. Dollar, just calm down. Everything's going to be all right. Now, exactly what is it you want to know?
That big packing case, the one that was lying right here in front of the bench last night. Where is it?
Oh, the great big one?
Yes, the great big one.
The one about 8 feet long and 3 feet wide?
Yes, the one about 8 feet long and 3 feet wide.
Well, there was something very peculiar about that case.
You're telling me. Where is it?
Well, this morning we came to work. The boys saw it all packed up, so they put it on the truck for upper New York State.
Oh, no.
Oh, indeed they did. But what was peculiar about it, even though they found it all ready to go, later on they found all the merchandise that was supposed to go in it lying around loose. It had never really been packed.
Well, then quick. The least you can do is tell me where it went.
Well, now that I can do. That box was the boss's big annual charity shipment of goods. That particular box is on its way to some of the unfortunates who'll be spending this Christmas away from home.
All right, so where is it?
By now, it should be at the New York State Prison, up in Ossining.
Expense account, item 5, $12.80. Dinner check at Pietro's, where I had asked Miss Judy Whitehall to wait for me the night before, and where I inadvertently stood her up. Although how a gal can stand up after eating $12.80 worth of food, more than I can figure out. Let's see. Expense account, item 6, $10. Medical supplies for those poor CBS sound men, Vern Surrey and Billy Gould, who had to break all that glass during the show. Expense account total, $511.50. You may think this amount is a little high, but isn't everybody at this time of the year? Signed, yours, truly, Johnny Dollar.
Stars Charles Russell. Script by Paul Dudley and Gil Dowd. Featured in the cast were Jay Novello, Georgia Ellis, Marlene Ames, Parley Bear, Paul Duboff, and Connie Crowder. The special music is written and conducted by Leith Stevens. Your announcer is Bob Stevenson. Be sure to be with us at the same time next week when another unusual expense account is handed in by
yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Those two pleasant gentlemen of music, Vaughn Monroe and Gene Autry, will be around with special Christmas music tonight on CBS. On his caravan, Vaughn will feature a medley of Christmas carols. And you'll hear the maestro and his band featuring Vaughn's new song success, The Jolly Old Man in the Bright Red Suit. Gene Autry will bring you Christmas music and the Christmas Eve story, Western style. Be sure to hear these two Saturday night CBS stars, Vaughn Monroe and Gene Autry, on most of these same CBS stations. Now stay tuned for Vaughn Monroe's Caravan, which follows on most of these same stations. This is CBS, where yours truly, Johnny Dollar, meets adventure every Saturday night. The Columbia Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. what you call that last part where he included the CBS sound producers in his expense account. I know that if you were talking about television, you'd say that they were breaking the fourth wall, but there weren't any walls here in radio. But this, you know, as I'm listening to this was not all that great a Christmas special. In fact, this aired the same year that Dragnet was doing 22 rifle for Christmas. So this was, I guess 1949 was not a great year for Christmas specials. Though this one wasn't quite as depressing as 22 Rifle for Christmas, and probably in terms of the writing wasn't quite as good. I think it was just, you know, it'd be nice if he'd gotten a little bit into the Christmas spirit, but wishing ill on the little girl was because she was kind of frightened and didn't feel like giving information after that harrowing experience. That was just kind of, that was just kind of over the top for Christmas behavior. So maybe that's part of the reason why they didn't do another Christmas special, as far as we could tell, until the Bob Bailey days, because it can be kind of risky, kind of hard when you're doing that, if you don't do that right. And generally, I think when you do Christmas, and you observe that it's that time of year, there's got to be something in the Christmas spirit to kind of make people feel that it's actually worth it. If not, then you're probably better off not doing it. All right, well, that'll wrap this week's episode up. Again, Merry Christmas. Well, we're going to skip ahead a couple months in our Nero Wolfe stories to December 22nd for the Christmas episode, The Case of the Slaughtered Santas. The Slaughtered Santas introduces us to Larry Dobkin as Archie Goodwin. Dobkin took over the role of Archie either in the 4th or 5th episode. We don't know, because the 4th episode of Nero Wolfe, The Case of the Headless Hunter, is actually missing. And I'll have a little more information on Mr. Dobkin in a second. Before we do get into that, I do want to remind you to check out the new book that my wife and I have written and has been published by Splashdown Books in New Zealand, Tales of the Dim Night. It's a fantastic superhero parody/comedy, guaranteed to give quite a few laughs. To those of you who can remember things like the 1966 Batman series, as well as some of the 1990s superhero shows, and even the Superman show, radio show, we reference a couple of those. You can go to dimnight.com for more information, or click the link over at greatdetectives.net. To introduce Larry Dobkin, it really is quite a task. A fantastic career in radio, television, movies that stretch from the 1940s into the 21st century. His last role was on Judging Amy 2 years before he died. Dobkin was everywhere and played all sorts of roles. His most famous one over radio may have been as Ellery Queen from 1947 to 1948. Also, in later versions of The Saint, he plays the role of Louis the cab driver, and even takes over the role of Simon Templar for one episode during the Tom Conway era. He was also known for creating the Grizzly Adams story, and that character was a favorite around my house growing up. So with that, let's go ahead and we will take a listen to Larry Dobkin as Archie Goodwin in The Case of the Slaughtered Santas.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ringing of that phone bell means mystery, adventure.
Nero Wolfe's office, Archie Goodwin speaking. Yes? Yes, I know that in 48 hours it's going to be Christmas, but who is this? Who? Look, I'm a big boy now, so... Okay. Tonight at 8. Goodbye.
What the devil was that?
This may come as a shock to you, Mr. Wolfe, but that was Santa Claus.
You been drinking?
Uh-huh, the usual. Milk. He's coming to see you at 8. He's got a problem.
Indeed.
It seems that some low, not to mention murderous character is going around slaughtering Santa Clauses.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the bulkiest, balkiest, smartest, and most unpredictable detective in the world. That chair-born genius, Nero Wolfe. Created by Rex Stout and brought to you in a new series of adventures over this NBC network in the person of Mr. Sidney Greenstreet.
Began earlier than 8, however, the case of the slaughtered Santas. It began, to be precise, on the corner of 34th Street and Carlisle. The hour was close to 6, the weather cold, the sky dark.
How you doing, Santa?
I'm freezing to death, officer.
It's a cold day. You packing up?
Yeah, I guess so. Not many people around anymore.
Oh, heading for home and dinner. How was the collection?
Well, I don't need no armored car, but a few dozen kids are going to have something for their Christmas stockings.
Your competition, the guy in the opposite corner, is already screaming.
Probably got low blood pressure. Yeah, give me a hand to get the collection pot off the chains, eh?
Sure, there you go.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I'll just walk you down the block. Got to phone in.
Okay, fine.
One Santa still left. Wonder what he's waiting for.
Santa Claus.
Well, watch yourself going down those chimneys tonight, eh?
Sure. Well, I'll cut across the avenue here. Be seeing you.
Hey, that car coming down the street. Got its lights out. Look out!
Hey, Peg.
Huh?
Did I ever tell you I love you?
Oh, it's not me you love. It's a hot soup.
Now, you're not the only woman who can cook a dish of soup.
Huh?
It helps, though. I'm just beginning to thaw out.
Yeah, that's a cold corner you play Santa Claus on.
Well, don't hurt to make a few bucks. I ain't done so good this past year. Well, maybe the next year will be... Oh, well. Besides, I kind of like it, you know. Kids asking questions all day long.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder how they figure the other two Santas at the intersection.
Kids think of only one thing at a time. Moises?
Sure, Peg. You know, one of them other Santas got hit by a car tonight.
Oh?
Yeah, packed up a few minutes before I did, started crossing the avenue, and bang! Hit-and-run driver.
Oh, gosh, that's too bad. Was he hurt?
Yes, he was killed.
Here's your soup. Oh, with traffic the way it is nowadays. Well, I better take a look at the stew.
Somebody at the door. I'll get it, Peg.
Okay.
Yeah, what? Oh!
Mike!
Mr. Wolfe?
Yes, Archie?
I've been thinking.
Good heavens.
Oh, I admit it won't bring about a national emergency. But, Mr. Wolfe, Christmas is only a couple of days away.
If you're hinting about your present...
No. I was just imagining you behind a team of reindeer.
Your imagination is morbid.
You'd make a wonderful Santa Claus.
Phooey.
You got the perfect build for it. Of course, as for character...
Archie.
Yeah?
Can you picture me scrambling down a chimney?
Well, they might have to build bigger chimneys, but...
Bah.
There's that, too. However...
That is the front door.
True. I was thinking...
You might see who it is.
Well, if nobody's been lying to me on the phone, that'll be Santa Claus.
Let him in.
But I haven't decided what I want for Christmas yet, Mr. Wolfe. For example, should she be blonde or brunette, tall or short?
Archie.
On my way. Good evening.
I dislike dawdling on anyone's doorstep.
Well, stop dawdling. Come in, please.
Mr. Wolfe has been warned of my arrival?
He has. Through here. Mr. Wolfe, this is Santa Claus?
My name is Barton, John Barton.
How do you do, sir?
I have no time for the social graces, Mr. Wolfe. I'm about to be murdered.
Hardly in my house. I have objections.
I'm a frightened man, Mr. Wolfe.
Indeed.
This This costume you see me in is responsible for it all.
Why are you in it?
I had a notion it might be, well, entertaining to play Santa Claus in public. I'm a wealthy man, sir. I can afford to have whims. Therefore, I have assumed this masquerade. However, it apparently is going to be the death of me.
Mr. Barton, you have adequately conveyed an atmosphere and an emotion. I suggest you concentrate on facts now.
Very well. I have been acting as Santa Claus for the Tuberculosis Fund. My station is the corner of 34th Street and Carlisle Avenue. I might add the northeast corner.
Why?
Because at that intersection there have been two other Santa Clauses. One on the southeast corner and one on the southwest corner.
3 Santa Clauses, then, on 3 corners.
Yes. Now then, earlier tonight, the man on the southwest corner started home. He was crossing the avenue when he was run down and killed by an automobile.
A regrettable accident.
The car was running without lights. It deliberately ran the fellow down and then vanished. Not an accident, Mr. Wolfe.
You saw this yourself?
I did. 1 Santa Claus dead. The man on the southeast corner got home all right. According to the radio news flash, that's where he was killed by bullets.
Coincidence?
Possibly, but I wouldn't want to risk my life on the chance.
This is Friday night. In the nature of things, you would have made 2 more appearances. Very well, Mr. Barton.
I'll write you a check as a retainer, then hurry along home. I'm late now.
No.
I beg your pardon.
You will neither hurry home nor notify anyone at your home of your whereabouts.
But
you will remain here until such time as I think it's safe for you to leave. The house is well guarded.
I can't do that.
In which case, I cannot accept you as a client.
I fail to understand.
Mr. Barton, it is very easy to murder someone. Avoiding the consequences of such an action is something else again. However, I'm assuming that you're not primarily interested in what happens to your murderer after you're dead.
Of course not.
Therefore, you will remain here. Archie?
Yep.
First, the corner of 34th and Carlisle, a complete report.
But that's nonsense. The corner will be deserted now.
Mr. Barton, you're hiring my intelligence. You will therefore permit me to use it as I see fit. A complete report, Archie?
Right, sir.
You will then visit Inspector Kramer at headquarters. You will, in whatever manner you find effective, collect all the police information about the 2 already murdered Santas.
Fine. The manner, I think, will be applying a blowtorch to the inspector's toes.
Your levity is ill-timed.
The inspector is likely to throw me out of my ear.
Your problem.
My ear?
And on your way home, you might stop in at Mr. Barton's place.
I don't see any purpose in that.
Mr. Barton, there is a basic problem to which we must find an answer. Whether those 2 men were murdered because they were Santa Clauses or because their deaths were merely preliminaries to yours. Archie, I suggest haste.
Yes, sir.
And avoid blondes. I would like you to be home in time for Christmas.
Hey, Bud.
Yeah?
Got the price of a cup of coffee?
You sure you mean coffee?
Either you're gonna dig it up or you ain't. Never mind the questions about my personal affairs, see?
Oh, I apologize. Here.
2 bits. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Don't let me keep you.
You're not. 34th and Carlisle, huh? During the day filled with milling throngs? That's a nice phrase. I'll have to remember it. Milling throngs. And now desolate and deserted. Well, that's life.
Is that a fact?
That's philosophy.
Yeah? Well, but 2 bits, I don't have to listen to no philosopher, see? Good night, Bud.
Uh-oh. The inspector's got company.
If all you reporters will shut up and ask your questions one by one, I'll answer.
Inspector Kramer, it's true a couple of Santa Clauses have been knocked off tonight?
It's true that 2 men who have been employed as Santa Claus by charitable organizations have been murdered, yes.
Any connection between those 2 guys, or does somebody just hate Santa Claus?
Well, so far as we know, there is no connection.
That means it could be maybe some kind of maniac who decided he doesn't like Christmas or Santa Claus. Is that right?
The department is investigating along those lines.
Like how?
Well, we're checking all the local asylums for possible escaped lunatics.
Yeah, but, Inspector, suppose this nut has never been in an asylum.
That'll be all, boys.
Oh, but listen,
I said that'll be all now. Anything new comes in, you'll get it, understand? Good one.
Hello, Inspector.
Yeah, I spotted you coming in. What happened? You decided to reform and got a job on a paper?
Nope. I'm a public-spirited citizen, that's all.
Yeah, I could add a few things to that description with practically no strain at all.
Mr. Wolfe and I are very sentimental about Christmas. We object to Santa Claus being killed.
Nuts.
Oh, Inspector, aren't you in favor of Christmas?
I'm in favor of Christmas. I'm in favor of motherhood.
Leave motherhood out of this. Neither of us are mothers. Our chances of becoming mothers aren't too good either. And furthermore...
Okay, you're not giving, so get out of here.
Thank you, Inspector.
But Goodwin,
Yeah?
in case Wolfe decides to send me something for Christmas, you know what I wish he'd send me?
What?
Your head.
Well,
Oh.
now I know what I want for Christmas.
What did you say?
I said my name is Goodwin and it's cold on your doorstep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Come in.
Mm-hmm. You didn't mention your name.
I'm Laura Barton.
Mrs. Laura Barton?
No,
Fine. That is, what relation are you to John Barton?
his niece. Why do you ask?
Oh, you've got a beautiful voice. All this marble and no butler?
I don't know where Pleasant is. He should be here.
Have him shot at sunrise.
Oh, Laura.
Wayne, this is Mr. Goodwin.
I never heard of him. What does he want?
Well, I don't know.
Wayne what?
Stevens?
Uh-huh. Friend of Mr. Barton?
Half-brother, but we seem to be doing all the answering. How about your answering some questions, Goodwin?
I'll try.
Come into the library. What do you want?
For Christmas? Erase that. I would like to see Mr. Barton.
He's not home.
Where is he?
Don't you know?
I wouldn't have come here asking for him if I did, would I?
I suppose that's true. What did you want with him?
Conversation.
About?
Anything. You see, I like to talk to rich men. Are you rich?
I can't play the piano either.
You could always learn. But being rich is harder, I found it.
Mr. Goodwin, you must have some reason for coming here, some reason concerning Uncle.
Laura, you're being imaginative.
Well, Uncle is late.
He's probably still on that street corner playing Santa Claus. He enjoys it. Why bother about
I
what...
don't know, except...
He's never been as late as this?
Well, no. Not since he started that masquerade of his.
Would you happen to know where the butler is?
Out getting drunk, I suspect. He was in the kitchen a little while ago. Disappeared. Pleasant likes to look on the wine when it's red. Or even when it's rye. No, I take that back.
Oh, you do?
He prefers Irish whiskey. We don't stock it. Therefore...
Oh, too bad. I better run along. Good night, Mr. Stevens. Miss Barton.
Good night.
I'll see you out.
Prettiest butler I ever saw. Blonde. Now, old Dr. Tidmouse always said, beware of blondes because...
Mr. Goodwin,
Well, I'm waiting.
Mr. Goodwin, you must know something about Uncle, something you didn't want to tell us.
Makes you think so.
Well, otherwise your visit was just pointless.
Let's suppose I know. Now, I might be a kidnapper.
Oh, no.
My honest brown eyes.
Your first name is Archie, isn't it?
Archie? Archie Goodwin. Goes together nicely, don't you think?
You work for Nero, Wolfe. You're going back to him now?
I might be, but then again, I might be going to the movies.
I recognized you. Your pictures have been in the papers. Take me with you to see Mr. Wolfe. You can trust me.
I never trust blondes.
That's unfair.
Well, no, I don't trust brunettes either. Furthermore, I'm not sure Mr. Wolfe would want to see you, so
So?
So why don't you, trail me home,
That you, Archie?
Archie? Where's Santa Claus?
Guest room. He was tired. What,
I've been trailed home.
Me?
By a blonde.
Phooey.
All right, I admit I didn't make any strenuous effort to shake her off, but she trailed...
Where is she?
Outside.
Good. Your report.
Oh, but she might freeze to death out there.
That's her problem. Your report, Archie.
It's short and simple.
It would be simple.
I haven't got time to resent that. A blonde is dying. As for the report, corner of 34th and Carlisle is a very quiet spot at night. No one was around but a bum who got into me for a quarter. For coffee, he said.
You will not put that quarter on the expense account.
Stop worrying. That was a private gesture. There were 4 corners. Corner number 1 had a dress shop on it. Corner number 2, a drugstore with a beautiful redhead in the window making with a hair rinse. The ad said her name was Noreen, but it didn't give her phone number.
Gee.
3rd corner was devoted to a shoe store, and the 4th corner had a bank on it.
A bank?
Kind of thought we'd have a pause at that point. Mean something?
Inspector Kramer's information consisted of...
Oh, you're being coy. Kramer furnished the information the police could find no connection between the 2 murdered Santas.
Except for the fact that they were both playing Santa Claus.
Isn't that a little on the obvious side?
This is an obvious case. The Barton home, Archie.
Marble and old lace. A butler, his name is Pleasant, was among those missing. Among those present, Laura Barton, the old man's niece, and Wayne Stevens, his half-brother. Yeah, only for Laura. Stevens was not at all pretty.
It was Laura Barton who followed you here.
It was Laura.
Archie, go upstairs and...
Oh, now, wait a minute. The girl, the weather, common humanity demands that you have...
Louis, you speak for yourself, not humanity.
I'm human.
On occasion, a debatable point. Very well. Let her in.
Oh, thanks. Laura, come in. Laura Barton, Mr. Wolfe.
How do you do?
How much money do you inherit on the death of your uncle?
What?
That is known as the shock treatment. However, I need an answer.
Uncle isn't dead, is he?
That, for the moment, is irrelevant. How much?
Half his estate.
The other half?
Wayne, Uncle's half-brother.
Very well. Archie, will you go upstairs and inform Mr. Barton that his niece is here?
Uncle is here?
On my way.
Yes?
Archie, Mr. Barton.
Come in.
Mr. Wolfe would like you to come downstairs.
I suppose he has a reason.
Mm-hmm. A blonde reason, your niece.
My niece?
That's right. She just... where'd you get that?
A man of my wealth finds it safer to carry a revolver.
But it's not safe to point it at people, especially for the people.
Turn around, Goodwin.
But, Mr. Barton, we're protecting you.
By letting that girl into the house? If I had the time, I'd be amused. As it is...
Archie, you been drunk? Good heavens.
Uh-huh. Santa Claus came early.
Your head?
Which one are you referring to, my own or the one Santa gave me?
You had better sit.
No, I had enough trouble getting up a little while ago. I'm staying out of any positions in which I might have to do that again. Mr. Barton is among the missing.
Indeed?
Mm-hmm. Hit me on the head and used the back exit. I checked with Fritz in the kitchen on the way here.
He offered a reason for his peculiar behavior?
Laura Barton.
So?
I don't understand. Uncle wouldn't do...
Uncle apparently has. He also, would appear, fancies himself in costume.
Well, he used to be very much interested in the stage. He acted for a while a long time ago till the family objected.
Archie?
Got it. Nero Wolfe's office. Archie Goodwin speaking.
You recite very nicely, Goodwin. This is Kramer. Let me have Wolfe, huh?
Mr. Wolfe? Inspector Kramer.
Yes, Inspector?
The papers haven't been carrying it, Wolfe, but you're working on the Santa Claus case, aren't you?
Possibility?
You didn't send Goodwin down to headquarters on a possibility. Never mind. We're working on a line down here, Wolfe. Now, look, if it doesn't strain your professional ethics, you might be able to help.
How?
There's a bank on the corner of 34th Street and Carlisle. We got the thought that suppose a gang was preparing to take that bank tomorrow morning. Those Santa Clauses have been on the corner for nearly a week now. They might have noticed something about the bank's routine, guards or what have you, that could interfere with the gang's plan.
A mighty ingenious and imaginative thought, Inspector.
Hey, you didn't say yes or no.
I have at the moment no opinion.
That's all you're going to give us?
At the moment. However, Inspector, in a very little while I shall give you, the murderer. Archie, Miss Barton will remain here. As for you...
Yeah?
You return to 34th Street and find our coffee-loving friend. You will persuade him in whatever manner you think best to return here with you.
Huh?
Yes. You know, I think it possible you may be able to put that quarter on the expense account after all.
You.
What? Oh. Why, I've seen you before.
Yeah, I've learned to love the neighborhood. That's why it's going to break my heart.
What is?
Leaving it with you.
With...
It's sensitive about having guns pulled on me tonight.
Let go of me, will you?
Not until
I tell you that, McGill.
Yeah. Gun looks in a lot better shape than you do. You're coming with me.
Oh, where?
Mr. Wolfe would like to see you.
Nero Wolfe?
Yeah.
Well, why?
He's trying to salvage a quarter.
Archie.
Uh-huh. Complete with, he wouldn't give his name. He did have a gun to it, though. This one.
Yes. Archie, you know Miss Barton, of course?
Aye.
And Mr. Stevens? He joined us a moment ago. Miss Barton thought she'd be happy if he were here.
Hello, Stevens.
That's not the only reason I came. My brother is still missing. I'm concerned.
Yes. You, sir, will you sit down? Watching people stand makes me uncomfortable.
I don't have to.
You do. Archie is stronger than you are.
All right.
That's better.
If you don't mind, Mr. Wolfe, I've never been here before, never met you. But you look as though you could handle things. I think my brother's been kidnapped.
Possibility we shall have to consider. Miss Barton, perhaps you have a theory, too?
Well, I don't know. Uncle's been behaving strangely for weeks now.
What way?
Well, I'm not sure. Wayne...
Well, of course, John's always been a little peculiar, but I'm afraid I saw nothing especially strange. Outside of this Santa Claus stunt, of course.
I see. Miss Barton, your uncle played Santa Claus all week on one of the corners of 34th Street in Carlisle.
I know.
On two other corners, two other men indulged in the same activity. Those two other men are now dead.
Oh, no.
Well, wait. Mr. Wolfe, you mean they were killed by mistake for Barton?
It is true that one man, made up of Santa Claus, looks very much like any other man similarly costumed. But the answer is no. One of the two men was shot in his home after he had removed his costume.
Well, then, what connection?
Miss Barton, in the event that you wanted to hide a tree, where would you hide it?
Hide a tree? Why, I wouldn't even begin to know.
If you were very clever, you would hide it in a forest. If you wanted to hide a murder and were very clever, you would adopt the same principle.
Wait. You mean that if someone wanted to kill Uncle and didn't want to be suspected, he'd...
Go about murdering several people with an ostensible, if lunatic, reason. He would, let us say, go about killing Santa Clauses.
I get it. Then people would think the man he really wanted dead for a special and private reason had been killed for something that didn't point to him.
True. That was why two Santa Clauses were murdered tonight. The third Santa Claus, however, the real object of the murderer's attention, was luckier or suspicious. He fled.
Do I have to hang around here and listen to all this?
You do, my unwashed friend. Mr. Barton fled, and the murderer was in a quandary. He had, so to speak, invested in two murders merely to make the third one confusing. But he found himself unable to commit that third murder. He couldn't find his victim. Could he ask the police to do so? Hardly. But he might try to inveigle a private detective such as myself into the job.
That makes sense, Mr. Wolfe, but why would my brother have deliberately fled from your house? I mean, he was protected here, so... But do I make myself clear?
Very clear, Mr. Stevens. Archie, that gun you took from the dirty gentleman, you still have it?
I still have it.
Then would you mind pointing it at Mr. Stevens here until the police remove him?
All right, come along, Stevens.
Well, that's the end of Mr. Stevens. Inspector Kramer will take good care of him from now on. But now, Mr. Wolfe, Laura and me and the refugee from a washcloth over here would still like to know how and why and who was involved.
I knew two people had a motive for John Barton's death. Laura Barton and Wayne Stevens. One of them proceeded to kill Santa Clauses in the hope that the police would assume those killings to be the work of a lunatic.
The paper certainly hopped on that assumption.
Yes. However, John Barton, aware that his life was in danger, escaped his murderer and hid.
In this house?
No. A man in Santa Claus costume came here and said he was Barton. However, he was an obvious imposter. He proved that by his flight when his niece came here.
You mean he could fool you, but he knew he wouldn't be able to fool me, so...
Precisely, therefore, was not Barton. Who was it? Who else had disappeared at the propitious moment?
The butler, Pleasant.
True. I distrust coincidence. Stevens needed an accomplice, hence he sent Pleasant here.
And Pleasant would give you a song and dance about Barton's danger and then scram. You'd start investigating, discover Barton was missing, try to find him, and lead Stevens to his victim, huh?
I frustrated that part of the plan by insisting on Pleasant's remaining here, which he did until...
That part of it's fine. But how did you choose between Laura and Stevens?
It was Stevens who knew, without being told, that Barton had been in this house and had fled from it.
Yeah. You yourself mentioned that Stevens had only been here a moment, so you hadn't told him.
Obviously, the butler phoned him as soon as he had hit you over the head and escaped. Furthermore, the butler masquerading as Barton had attempted to throw suspicion on Miss Barton. That convinced me of her innocence.
Well, you've done it again, Mr. Wolfe, except for one minor detail.
You're not very successful at irony, Archie. What minor detail?
Where is Barton?
In this house.
Huh? When did that happen?
You arrived home with the gentleman sitting near you.
The bum? Wait a minute. This I ought to be able to figure out myself. Laura said Barton used to be an actor. That's item one, huh?
Yes, Archie.
Also, why is a supposed tramp hanging around a deserted intersection for handouts? The answer is he wasn't. He was keeping an eye out for trouble he knew was after him. Oh, so it turns out I gave a quarter to a millionaire.
Uncle, your uncle. Well, that is...
I know, my dear. Yes, I'm Uncle. I did rather a decent job, didn't I? No one recognized me. Except, of course, you, Mr. Wolfe.
Not recognition, Mr. Barton. Logic. Archie, open some beer for us.
Yes, sir.
Logic, eh? Well, whatever it was, Mr. Wolfe, I owe you a good deal. How can I ever repay you?
Oddly enough, the answer is simplicity itself. Make out a check.
You have been listening to The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe, starring Sidney Greenstreet. Tonight's transcribed story was based on the characters created by Rex Stout. This is an Edwin Fadiman program produced and directed by J. Donald Wilson. In the cast were Larry Dobkin as Archie Goodwin, and Howard McNear, Grace Lennard, Vic Rodman, Herbert Butterfield, Bill Johnstone, Gene Bates, and Bob Bruce. Next week at this same time, Nero Wolfe and Archie will bring you The Case of the Bashful Body. Don Stanley speaking. 3 chimes mean good times on NBC.
Welcome back. Well, there are several things I want to mention here in the post show. I think the writers did a good job in this episode capturing the spirit of Archie with some of those lines, just classically delivered by Dobkin. And, of course, the one thing that has struck me about Archie Goodwin that kind of makes a very interesting twist on the character. Most of the hard-boiled PIs are Scotchmen. By that I mean, of course, very likely you ask them what they want to drink, and they'll say they want some scotch. Archie Goodwin's favorite drink? Milk. And that's a fascinating variation that helped to make the character stand out. The one thing that I found a little bit off about the story was them taking time with the first two Slaughtered Santas, where we kind of got to know a little bit about their personality. So it had an audience impact when we saw the murder occur. The challenge of doing that in a Nero Wolfe story, when Wolfe is being Wolfe, is if the audience is really concerned about the murder, we kind of expect the detective to be too. The ending was interesting as well because it gives us an idea of what the writers of the Nero Wolfe story, what some of their influences were. Wolfe's solution, based on the idea, if you want to hide a tree, the best way to do it is in a forest, was actually something that was taken, or was inspired apparently, by a Father Brown story. Actually my favorite one, which is why I noticed it. Where Father Brown is talking to Flambeau, and he says, "Where does a wise man hide a pebble?" And Flambeau answers, "On the beach." And then Father Brown says, "Where does a wise man hide a leaf?" And the other answered, "In the forest." And if you read or listen to that story, The Sign of the Broken Sword, which is a fascinating mystery just because Father Brown solves it from like 3,000 miles away, it's quite a similar method to the murder as what happened, though on a larger scale in the Father Brown story. Before we go, I do want to say a special thanks to John for giving a nice tip to the show, and we went ahead and we sent a year, access to our premium site as a special thank you, which we do to everyone who gives a tip of $7 or more. Well, that'll do it for today. We'll be back tomorrow with Let George Do It. Before we do get started, I want to let you know about Audible. You know, Audible offers you a great chance to be able to catch up on that reading you'd like to do while you're on the go. You get one audiobook a month plus a subscription to your choice of either a complimentary subscription to the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal via audio. And you can try it out free for 2 weeks and get a free audiobook. Go to audiblepodcast.com/oldtimeradio. Well, we're going to play the Christmas episode that we played for you last year on Let George Do It. It's Follow That Train. Now, this one is from 1949, so December 19th, 1949. We're going to go ahead in time about 6 months. And we'll go ahead and take a listen to Follow That Train.
Personal notice, changes my stock and trade. If the job's too tough for you to handle, you got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
Standard Oil Company of California, on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West, invites you to Let George Do It. Follow That Train, another adventure of George Valentine.
Dear Mr. Valentine, I need your help. There are some things that I want most desperately. Well, what I want is the following. A green electric train with a real whistle and a blue and yellow observation car, a jump-up turtle that snaps at you, an atomic rocket gun M1 non-automatic, a yo-yo, and a pair of skates. Signed, Santa Claus.
Oh, now, wait a minute. What kind of a
That's
gag?
the way the letter is signed, George.
I suppose it's postmarked North Pole.
Uh-huh.
What?
Well, I mean, the letter is. Inside, it's engraved with a picture of the North Pole and... Uh-oh. In small print, it says, Local Branch Office, Gumpert's Department Store.
Well, I'm right here, Brooksy.
Oh, those shoppers. There must be millions of them.
Hang on to me now. Oh, watch the umbrella, lady. Oh, come on. Let's get out of here, Angel. It was nothing but a gag, the whole thing.
Letter from Santa Claus. Publicity stunt,
Oh,
maybe.
that's my foot you're walking on, Bud.
Okay, Buster, but get those packages out of my...
Hey!
Riley!
Well, hello, Miss Brooks. Merry Christmas.
Why are you here, Lieutenant, buying stockings for your wife?
Handkerchiefs this year. No, it's the policeman's charity down at the orphanage. Say, you coming?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, some of the stuff turned over to us was broken. Got to get a new motor on this thing, see?
You mean people give toys for charity that aren't any good?
Well, I grant you this item was, well, you see, me and some of the boys were playing with it down at the office, and it broke.
Hey, wait a minute. Electric train motor, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's got the slickest blue and yellow observation car you ever saw. It's still on my desk. Sergeant Del Valle is fixing the wheel.
Yeah, let me see the rest of that package.
Huh? Hey, wait a minute, domestic
together,
wrappings. How should I
Hey,
know?
who sent it?
Oh, it's just a box of new presents, that's all. Somebody just dumped it off at headquarters. It's nice stuff.
George, the electric train.
Huh?
Jump-up thing that's dressed like a turtle.
Yeah.
Atomic rocket gun, yo-yo, and a pair of skates.
Yes, Angel, exactly the present Santa Claus wants.
Exactly the things in the letter.
No. You misunderstand. All those men you saw dressed in Santa Claus suits go outside. Yes, they work on the streets for blocks around collecting money for charity.
You mean ringing a bell and saying, buy your gifts at Comforts?
Well, people are used to commercials. But really, sometimes even I don't know how many there are. The agent always seems to send one more than we need.
Yes, but look, inside. Is there only one Santa Claus inside?
Well, but of course. His name is Joe Smith, the most reliable young man.
A young Santa Claus?
Well, he looks the part, all right. Oh, he's the real one. He's been with us several years now. The children all believe in him.
Well, then he's the guy we want to see.
Perhaps if you would tell me why we don't allow adults inside North Pole. There's a fence around it, naturally.
Please, I'm a busy man. Here's my calling card.
Yes. Oh, of course, Lieutenant. It's easier if you slip through the credit department here. The side door. Watch your step. That's supposed to be an ice floor.
All right. I'll get the answer to this for you, Valentine. There's nothing to it. I'll just open the... What the...
All right, girl. Come on.
Oh, North Pole. We couldn't get in there today.
Well, I guess maybe we'd better shut the door. Valentine, maybe we got to forget.
Riley, let me have that package, will you?
Huh?
And you, where does this Joe Smith eat his lunch?
Why, he eats at home, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And his address is 17 West Federal. That's near here. It's one of the side streets.
Okay, thanks.
Valentine, wait a minute. Those presents are for
Riley, what would you do if you got a letter from Santa Claus?
Well, I'll grant you I'm still curious myself, but...
Okay, you can have your electric train after lunch.
Huh?
Now, maybe this is crazy, but I don't want anybody disappointed at Christmas time. Especially St. Nick.
Buy your gifts at Comforts. Merry Christmas.
17 West. There it is, George, across the street.
Yeah, the brownstone, huh? Boarding house, maybe. Hey, look at the signs in the window.
You want a job? I'll find it. Let Louis place you.
One-armed employment agency.
Seasonal employment especially. George, maybe it's the place that hires all the Santa Clauses.
Yeah, maybe. Only the guy said that's where Joe Smith lives. So, let's get across here, Angel.
All right.
It's all right, I got the package.
Buy your gifts at... Hey, look out for that taxi.
Jump, Angel. Holy.
Oh. Boy, was that close.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the warning, Santa.
Buy your gifts.
Darling, look, the driver stopped.
Why don't you watch where you jaywalk, Mac?
Now, look, Buster, you might watch where you drive for a change.
Oh, yeah, I seen you start gazing at the sun. Maybe it'll help you to get bumped once or twice.
Vice versa, Buster.
I can oblige you.
Yeah, you and who else?
Show him, boy.
George, look out!
Bad enough a man should be a Samaritan. He shouldn't strain his heart doing it. No, Hilda. His feet on the couch, not under him.
Yes, Mr. Louis.
He might break his leg. If you want, he should sue us.
No, Mr. Louis.
Oh, my back. There we are.
Oh.
Men my age carrying bums off the street.
Hey, where am I?
It's Mr. Louis' house, sir.
Louis'
I'm the cook, Hill, and I saw you lying out on the street.
Louis' house. Oh, the employment agency.
It won't do you any good to sue us.
Well, this is where Santa... I mean, Joe Smith lives, isn't it?
Oh, no, sir, no.
Joe Smith lives. That does it. I break my back like a Samaritan for insult.
Joe Smith is my boyfriend, that's all, sir. I mean, he lives in a cheap little hotel, but this is a better address.
Lives here, that's all I need. A worthless bum. Every time I turn my back, he's eating my meals. Every time I go out, he's sneaking in.
Okay. You don't like your cook's boyfriend. Skip it. Hey, I was carrying a package.
A package? Now he thinks we're stealing. What package?
And wait a minute. Where is she? Where's Miss Brooks?
Who?
The girl. The girl who was with me out there on the street when some guys jumped us. Where is she?
You pick up a bum, what happens? How should we know? Here's a guy on the street, Hilda says. He's all alone. What girl?
So she's disappeared. Maybe even kidnapped. I'm just as worried as you are. Only will you please...
Those guys jumped us. She's not maybe kidnapped, Riley.
I've got every man on the force searching for her. What else can I do? Now, look, if you could only remember...
I don't know what they look like. Just a taxi driver. Some guys that happened too fast.
Wait, what about that Santa Claus you said saved you from getting run over?
No, he was way across the street.
Oh, yeah? Well, listen, I had a man check the people on the street, and he says there wasn't any Santa Claus there at all on the street.
Okay, it's a riddle. I don't care. All I want is to find Brooksy.
Valentine, will you please let us do the job we can do best? Will you please stay with that electric train and...
Riley, you can take that electric train, and you know what you
do.
do.
Get smart, will you? It was stolen from you. That's why you were attacked. Only listen. Were the wires made of platinum? Was there a crown jewel in the headlight smuggled dope on the yo-yo? No. Me and the boys took every one of those toys apart down here at the office. They were just toys, that's all. Toys worth no more than $50. Okay, well, you figure it.
Okay, Riley.
Gee, Mr. Valentine, I know how you feel. Me and Joe love each other so much, only we can't get married. He only works part-time, driving fruit trucks in the summer and being Santa in the winter. Mr. Louis won't pay me enough to support both of us. It's no fun being apart.
Hilda, let's talk about something else, huh?
The only times I see him when the boss is out. But gee, if a person thought you would never see the other person again.
Hilda, would you please answer the door? That might be Joe.
Coast clear, honey?
Uh-huh.
Oh, Hilda, baby, Merry Christmas.
Joe, show your whiskers.
All right. Break it up. I'm George Valentine.
Oh, well, how are you, Mr. Valentine? Say, isn't this a swell day, though?
Yeah, sure. Now, you're the one who wrote me that letter. Why?
Huh?
Why did you write it? Santa Claus wants presents. What's the gag? Why those special toys you listed?
Oh, it's no gag. They were stolen.
Stolen?
From the North Pole, I mean, yesterday.
Go on.
Well, it all started yesterday, Mr. Valentine. A guy I used to know once bumped into me on my way to work. Mo Dickerson. He asked me could he take my place today as Santa Claus and wear my stuff.
What, Joe?
No, take it easy, honey. Of course, I said no. I thought it was just a rib. Until last night, I saw some of my toys were missing. And then I get a phone call saying unless I let Mo do what he asked, those toys wouldn't be returned.
What's so important about that?
Well, if they weren't returned, I'd be in trouble. I'm responsible. Nobody's allowed in the North Pole except me and the kids. Not even store help. Oh, no, I'd be in trouble.
Uh-huh. It was Mo's way of pressuring you into doing what he wanted. Only I wonder why he wanted to play Santa.
And, Joe, if people can't get in there, how did he steal the toys?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I don't know any of those things. I got the kids to think about, Mr. Valentine, and I wanted you to figure out...
You don't know where Mo lives either, do you?
No, I'm sorry. But he's a skinny guy with a sort of a nosy voice, brown hair, and a mole on his ear.
Wait a minute. Eyebrows go up, little scar on his cheek?
Yeah, that's right. He drives a taxi sometimes. Say, do you know him?
Sure, I met that guy, and I'd like to meet him again. When was this changeover of his supposed to take place?
Today, after lunch.
Okay, you're going to make that changeover, Joe. Only with me. Well, of course, little girl. The dolly will do everything your baby sister does. Don't you worry. Yeah. Oh, brother, how many kids are there in this town? All right, Sonny, all right. You're next. Don't push there. Well, now, there's a fine little fella.
Up on my knee, that's it. Now, let's see. You wrote me a letter up at the real North Pole. I remember that. But you know how those elves can mix up a man's desk.
I brought you one.
Hey, what's that, Sonny? You'll have to speak louder so Santa can hear what you...
Letter. I brought it. Here.
Hey, let's see your face, kid.
Oh, no, you don't. You got your mail. So long, suckers.
Hey, wait a minute. Well, I'll be. Dear Santa Claus, you still got your chance to play ball, but open your mouth 1 inch wider and you'll find yourself stuffed up a chimney with a stocking around your neck. We'll return to tonight's adventure of George Valentine in just a moment. Christmas shopping is usually a happy and exciting affair. But when you have to do a lot of heavy traffic driving all over town, it can get a little rough on your nerves. Rough on your car, too. That is, if you have the wrong kind of gasoline. For perfect traffic performance, just try Chevron Supreme gasoline. It's a premium quality gasoline that gives your car a fast start every time. No delays, no extra strain on your car's battery. Smoother, faster pickup, and ping-free power on hills. Best of all, Chevron Supreme is climate-tailored. Tailored according to weather reports from your area. That's why this gasoline gets the best out of your car in any season, in each different altitude and temperature zone of the West, wherever you drive. In fact, you can't buy a better gasoline for today's high-compression engines. So why not try a tank full of Chevron Supreme tomorrow? Ask for it at standard stations and at independent Chevron gas stations, where they say and mean we take better care of your car. And now back to tonight's adventure of George Valentine. You receive a letter for help from Santa Claus. For a while, you even play Santa at the North Pole, local branch office, Gumpert's department store. But in the meantime, your assistant, Claire Brooks, has disappeared. She was kidnapped, and so far, the police haven't located either her or the man who was there at the time, Mo Dickerson. All this and a midget, and a note threatening murder just because of a missing electric train and a few other inexpensive toys. Even if your name is George Valentine, you're thoroughly and completely stumped.
I don't know whose writing it is, Mr. Valentine.
Well, it's addressed to you, isn't it, Joe? It says Santa Claus.
And the midget couldn't have known it was Valentine under that makeup.
Hey, jiggle the mirror.
Burglar alarms, fire alarms, sewer pipes, wires. Is this the best Gumpers can give you for a dressing room?
Well, the basement's better than a restroom.
Oh.
At least the other employees don't pull your beard all through a 10-minute break.
Brother.
Now, look, Joe, all I want to know
Mr.
is...
Valentine, of course the note was meant for me. Oh, would you give me those boots and the bell over there? If there's any danger in being Santa Claus, I'll take it. Oh, thanks. I'm not afraid of those guys.
But what guys?
I tell you, I don't know.
Now, listen, fat boy, somebody's in danger.
Oh, Mr. Valentine, I'm sorry about her. I do wish I could help. I know how I'd feel if Hilda were...
Oh, save the sympathy. Now, that note said, open your mouth 1 inch wider and you'll find yourself stuffed up the chimney. Okay, let's have that inch.
No. I mean, I told you what I can about Mo Dickerson. I did.
Joe, it's about you. That's what you're not telling.
Look, I've been doing all right for years, you see. It's only happened once, and it was a mistake. I'm honest. I drive trucks, and it's hard to get jobs sometimes. I like kids, and I'm in love with a girl. I'm making a life for myself.
Joe, what was it? That once.
Jail. That's why Mo was so afraid of anything questionable happening again.
Jail for what, Joe?
Stealing. That's it. That's all there is to tell.
Uh-huh. I hope the kids don't pummel you like they did me.
I don't mind. I like the job.
Valentine, wait a minute. Where are you going?
To catch a thief who could have stolen an electric train. A small thief, Riley. A midget. The trick jobs, Louie. If you can't be very many of them in town, they ought to...
Tall guys for a water ski in Florida. Who is employment? Now, here, listen. Want a paycheck, so get over here. No.
What's what?
He's in a...
Take the next. Main 8409. The kid who gave me the note. And he must be up at the North Pole yesterday. Tell me who he is, then he can fix the rest of the boys.
Yeah. It's a job for a radio announcer.
Hey, results. Somebody at the door.
Something. I got a commission.
Go on. What?
It's all right, small fry. Don't wait.
What's this gift?
Brooksy.
I want you to meet the most charming. Oh, but you are charming.
My name is Felton.
Look, Angel, you were kidding the sidewalk. When I came to, you weren't there. Now...
Married man, Mr. Valentine.
No.
George, no. I took the electric train. Then the next thing I knew, I was wondering...
And there she was, Mr. Valentine. She'd fainted. Naturally.
George, he even took me to the emergency hospital. See my bandage? Oh, it's under my hat.
Mr. Felton, you and who else revived her? Tom and Jerry?
I beg your pardon.
My darling, once a year a little nutmeg won't hurt anybody. Oh, George.
Hey, come on, Angel. You should have stayed in that hospital. Hilda, where are you?
Oh, here I am, Mr. Valentine. She can lie down on my bed. I'll take her. Oh, you poor thing.
I'll go with you.
Oh, great. Well, I guess I ought to be grateful to you, Wolfe.
I'm sorry you were so alarmed.
So are the police.
Oh, dear. And me, a married man. Mr. Valentine, perhaps if there's no further way I could be of assistance...
No, hold it.
Hey, is this the place phoned about a...
Hello, sucker.
Let go of me. Put me down, you big boy.
No, you don't.
Mo.
Oh, good heavens.
Hey,
What's
Mo.
going on? What's this? What's this all about?
Mr. Felton, here's your chance to make up. Hold this half pint.
Well, now, really,
Put me down.
What's the matter? Wiggly,
Well, Mo, welcome to the party.
Mr. Valentine, really? Oh, stop kicking me, will you?
Yeah, things happen pretty fast, Mr. Felton. I guess you can put the little man down now. He's not going anyplace.
What's the meaning of all this? What is it?
Shoplifting, I figure. The big guy here used the little guy to try and pressure a Santa Claus. Wanted to borrow a red suit for the afternoon so he could get into Gumpets unnoticed and fill his stomach full of mink coats or something, I suppose.
Yes.
Only what I don't...
Yes, really, Mr. Valentine, that scarcely makes sense. But then I suppose neither will this.
Hey, boy. Nice going, boss.
Thank you, Wiggly. Thank you.
Okay, so I am a sucker. What are you going to do about it, Mr. Felton?
Yes, and why do you need me? I should be cooking supper or be upstairs with Miss Brooks.
Oh, stop sniveling, Hilda. They're not going to hurt us. Bombs, that's all.
Of course, no one will be hurt.
No, we don't hurt people.
Ha ha.
Ha. Quite a convention you got on your hands, Felton.
7:53, boss.
Plenty of time, Mo. Relax, Wiggly. Listen to the music.
Yeah, you're a big wheel, Felton. That's where I went wrong, figuring it was just shoplifting, isn't it? Just shoplifting would scarcely make sense with all the effort you guys put out over that electric train.
I assumed you'd come to your senses, Valentine. Naturally, I had to detain you.
I could fix it so he loses those senses again, boss.
Don't be so anxious, Mo. But you did want to play Santa Claus. And you keep watching the clock. Something's slated for tonight, isn't it? Sure, that's it. At closing time, the guy playing Santa Claus will go down to the basement to take off his makeup. He'll be there late. And the burglar alarm wires are down there.
Boss, he talks too much.
Why, your gifts at Comforts. That place must take in close to $100,000 a day this time of year and can't bank till next morning. Well, you've got a big organization, all right. The man inside the basement blocks the alarm system. The rest of the team goes to work. It's robbery. Big-time organized robbery.
I know it. Bums, that's all they are.
Oh, shut up, Louie. You're in it yourself.
What the...
Yeah, you guys sit around acting like you don't know each other. Well, who hires people? Who knew about that basement dressing room? And why do you think I wanted you to phone midgets today? It was to see if the right midget would take orders from you, Louie, and he did. He came running. And the crackpot way you and Felton picked Miss Brooks and me up after Mo and the boys slugged us.
Mr. Louie, no. Oh, no, Mr. Louie,
Shall
no.
I kick him into shins for you, boss?
Turn that blasted radio off! Mo, you and Wiggly run down to Fred's garage. Pick up a car. Get back here fast.
Sure, Louie.
Yeah, Louie.
Now, cool off, Louie. You've got a bad heart. There's no need.
Louie, Smooey, shut up! All day you've been botching.
I have not. Just a bit of bad luck.
Picking that Dame Brooks off the sidewalk.
But the boys had hit her too hard. They'd hurt her head. It only seemed decent to... well, she didn't know what happened, Louis, and you yourself brought in Valentine.
Samaritans, bums, you and dumb Hilda.
I didn't know, Mr. Louis. I just saw him lying there. I didn't know you were a criminal.
You didn't know nothing. You never do, but you do now. Too much.
Yeah, and so do I. Now, you listen, Buster. I finally figured out the electric train, why it's important. It starts out on the North Pole. It was stolen from there.
So smart.
Only instead of dumping it in an ash can, Felton, you go soft-headed and put it in a charity box, where a cop can get hold of it and play around with it in his office, can give it to me. Yeah, now I know why it's so important, why you had to have the boys slug me to get it back again.
The world is full of bombs.
Fingerprints. Sure, fingerprints. There's nobody can resist playing with an electric train.
Go ahead, make noises while you can.
Now, wait a minute, Louis.
Of course I'm going to kill him. So I work with bombs. So a big-time robbery gets botched up. I get rid of him, I can still pull it. So I ain't got the burglar alarms fixed. I can still
There's a blue and yellow observation car, Buster.
What?
You've got that electric train back, all right, but there's a blue and yellow observation car still on my friend Lieutenant Riley's desk. I've already told him to check it. Every big baby in your gang has probably had his mitts on it. Well, a complete fingerprint roundup is going to make your robbery a little risky, isn't it? It might even make killing me a little risky, too.
He's right, Louis. They'd know who to look for afterwards. You see? It's not practical anymore.
Shut up, you sissy. What? You botched it up, Samaritan. Playing with toys, turning soft. All of a sudden afraid to take a bum for a ride.
Oh, I am not a sissy. But for gosh sakes, don't you realize... well, it's Christmas.
Yeah, and that's Riley. You might as well face it, Louis. You'll have to buy your gifts at Gumpert's.
Get away from that phone, Valentine. Hilda! Hilda, stop twisting that handkerchief and answer it.
Yes, sir.
My prints ain't on file, Valentine, and they ain't on no toys either. Not me. Just say Louis ain't here, Hilda. Just that.
Yes, sir. Hello? I'm sorry, but Mr. Louis isn't here.
Christmas.
All right, Scrooge. It looks like it's your party. Yeah, there's your boys out there. It's an awful black car.
Stand still, Felton. You too, Hilda. In case you got any Rose Bowl tickets you want to get rid of, Valentine.
Oh, shut up. Let them in. Let's get going.
All right, Mo, come on. Merry Christmas, baby. Merry...
Joe!
What are you talking...
Get him, Joe!
Gee, Mr. Valentine, you knew all the time it would be me on that telephone. Boy, I came tearing. Well, the only times I can see her when she tells me that old bum Louis isn't there. Oh, it's lucky that other Santa Claus told me to phone the minute I got off work.
George. George, at least you'll admit it was lucky that Joe should telephone the minute he got off work at 8 o'clock.
Well, I hope that was Joe on the phone. That's why I tried to keep Louis mad. Keep him from looking out the window to see who was really coming.
Oh. But what about that other time when the Santa Claus practically saved our lives? When that taxi almost ran us down.
Yeah, the one who warned us.
Lieutenant Riley said there wasn't a Santa Claus on that street.
Uh-huh.
And in the store, who suggested Joe telephone? There isn't any other Santa Claus inside the store. It's only outside. George, who was it?
Well, what's the matter with you, Angel? Don't you believe in Santa Claus?
It won't be long now before we celebrate the holiday that is probably everybody's favorite. Stockings will be hung, old Kris Kringle will be stopping on every rooftop, and on Christmas Day there will be happy family gatherings. So right now we want to wish you the happiest and brightest Christmas season you've ever known. A Merry, Merry Christmas to you from all of us here in the studio, and from the sponsors of Let George Do It, Standard Oil Company of California. Incidentally, this is the fourth Christmas season we've been on the air with you. And once again, independent Chevron dealers and standard stations personnel also want to sing out to you, Merry Christmas. Have a happy week, a happy holiday, and we'll be seeing you next Monday night. Tonight's adventure of George Valentine has been brought to you by Standard Oil Company of California on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West. Robert Bailey is starred as George. Let George Do It is written by David Victor and Jackson Gillis. Virginia Gregg appeared as Brooksy, Wally Mayer as Lieutenant Riley. Larry Dobkin was heard as the executive, John Daner as Joe, Herb Butterfield as Louie, Virginia Eiler as Hilda, Junius Matthews as Felton, and Tony Morris as the Midget. The music was composed and presented by Eddie Dunstetter. Your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week, same time, same station, to Let George Do It. This is the Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. Once again, I am struck by the audio talent of Virginia Gregg. This is certainly a challenge in that she came on for Francine Robinson, who played Brooksy for the first 3+ years of the series. And it's very hard to tell a Francine Robinson versus a Virginia Gregg episode, which kind of says a lot about the range of her voice. I should mention this will be the last time we rerun this particular episode. The way I figured it out, we needed 4 Let George Do It Christmas episodes, and we only had 3. So next year we'll have another Christmas episode. That'll do it for now. We'll be back tomorrow with Sherlock Holmes and a brand new actor in the lead role. In the meantime, send your comments to box13@greatdetectives.net. You can always give us a call, 208-991-4783. But from Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off.